Hey everyone, it's Kelly here. Today I wanted to share a little reminder for all of my fellow artists out there. It's okay not to always love your art right away. You ever go through those little stages? That was a little much, wasn't it?
Okay, let's start over.
Hello. I don't even know what to say about this. I was thinking I had this brilliant idea. I'm going to go in to do some kind of loose, fun, abstract type painting. She's at it again. She's back, guys. This is what I have to deal with while I'm filming. Hold on. I kicked her out. Okay, let's try it again. I was so into it. Yeah, so I did this abstract thing and I was gonna get all loose and grab my Derwent, I think that's how you say it, watercolor pencils. I was just gonna doodle and have some fun, and it all went south on me. So you don't have to always love your art, but stick with it because sometimes you learn things, sometimes in the end, it all works out. So stick around. That piece that you're not quite sure about today might just become your masterpiece tomorrow. So here's to embracing the beauty in the creative process. Here's to finding joy in the journey, even when that destination feels maybe a little unclear. Keep shining, keep creating, and never forget that your art is uniquely yours, and that is something truly beautiful. So today I wanted to share something with you a little different, a story about a painting that didn't quite turn out the way I expected. So here's the thing about art. It doesn't always go according to plan. That's okay. Sometimes you start with an idea in mind, but as you work, the painting takes on a life of its own. So as I was working on this piece, I started out just creating some color. I was like, I'm going to be loose today. I'm going to just let this thing tell me what it wants, right? And I saw a couple other artists that had, done something more abstract and it was really cool. And I was like, okay, well, I'm really practicing this loose thing with my florals, getting ready for my new floral course that's coming out. And I was like, I was feeling pretty good. I'm like, I've been doing this for a while. I can do this. And then I found myself with all these doubts. It wasn't turning out the way I had envisioned. I don't think I even liked it. I was planning on just, doing more abstract, some dots like I had done in the past with some of my alcohol ink paintings. And for this to work, it just wasn't working. So I was like, okay, here's the beauty of art, right? It's a journey. Sometimes the most thought out plans, or at least you think you know where you're headed, aren't what you thought you were going to express. So I did not fall in love with this painting at first. I have, however, I've come to appreciate it for what it's taught me. The importance of embracing that uncertainty and kind of finding the beauty of the imperfections. So here it is. This is the painting that challenged me. It frustrated me and ultimately taught me a valuable lesson. And who knows, when I go back and look on this, I might see this in a whole new light. But I kind of just stepped back for a second and said, okay, what do I like? What do I want to do with this? And I knew the little dots and the scribbles and things like that just wasn't me. I'm doing the florals. I know that some of these shapes can turn into those flower shapes. And so I just kind of dropped the idea of using some of those watercolor pencils and grabbed my Sharpie marker and I started just playing. So I'm like looking at these shapes, going, okay, maybe there's a leaf here. This looks like a flower. I don't know what kind of flower, and that's all right. So I just started tracing in these shapes, and it became so therapeutic for me, so much fun for me. And that was what I needed. It was like, okay, I went in with a plan that did not work. And I was starting to get frustrated, and I stepped back and said, you know what? It's okay. let's just have fun with this. And I've been doing the florals, and I had been doing some of the florals with the pen and ink. And I was like, I really have a lot of fun doing that. It's very relieving, stress releasing. It's very fun, loose. And I some of these areas I definitely got way too dark. I overdid it. I tried to add more color into it, and now I'm going back in and lightening some of the areas because I realized I had lost a lot of that luminosity of the watercolor. And again, it's okay. So I went back in with a little bit of white here. This is with my peach Doc Martens Bleed Proof White. Mixed a few other colors just to lighten up some of these really darker areas. And I just started going from one flower to the next and like just saying, okay, what do you want? What do you feel that this needs? And like these dark ones, I know it needed some light. So I mixed up some of the colors with the Doc Martin. Originally, I was going to leave the black and white on the side, but I really liked that color. It was like a beautiful kind of a teal blue shade. So I started filling in some of the other areas with that. And then I was like, well, okay, well, we need a little bit something else over here. I can go back in with that marker and trace around that. There are a couple really dark ones here. With a black Sharpie, I was like, okay, well, some of these are so dark that they're just not popping out. And that was my idea, to go with a little bit of the white mixed in with some of the colors. And I liked it. And I was like, okay, where is my Posca pen? I know I have a Posca pen somewhere around here. So after I added some of these lighter values to it, I was like, I have to find my Posca pen. It's all about the Posca pen because that black Sharpie was just a little too dark in a lot of the areas. I realized, like I said, I lost a lot of that luminosity. So now I'm trying to add a few more colors back in, more brighter, to see if I can just balance it out a little bit more. I plan on leaving a lot more white space in this painting, but again, sometimes the paintings take on a mind of their own. I'm looking for a spot to put more of that yellow because I was like, oh, it's just so dark. And I just knew it needed a little bit more of that brightness. So I can see up here, I like the flowers. Down here, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do for some of these shapes. So as I'm thinking on it, I'm adding some of those lighter values and again, adding some deeper tones to them to give it a little bit more depth. Then I dried it and I was just kind of analyzing it and saying, okay, what else does this need? And after about 10 minutes, I found that Posca pen. It's amazing how you think you have everything organized and you've organized it so well that you can't find things. Does that happen to you? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on that if you lose stuff all the time. All right, so the Posca pen was it. I'm like, okay, this little thing looks like a hydrangea. It was way too dark with that purple, so I took my Posca pen and just traced around it again, trying to create like those little four leaf type looking things. Again, I'm being really messy, and I figured I think I need to do the same thing on the one down below, and maybe a few more here. So I really started going after this with my Posca pen to try to lighten this up. And I have to admit that although it started out with just a little bit of white, I was really digging the black Sharpie. I got lost with my Posca pen and I went through and did a lot more than I had initially wanted to do. I did, however, try to keep it with some of those darker shades just to really get them to pop out. But yeah, it happens. So I did like the white. I probably should have stopped at some point and like took a look at this to see, do I like the direction that it's going in? We've all been there, pouring our hearts and our souls into a piece only to feel a little unsure, maybe even a little disappointed with the outcome. But here's the thing. Art is a journey. It's not about the destination. I'm sure you've heard that before. With each piece or each brushstroke, each experiment, each moment of uncertainty, guess what? It's part of the process. It's about embracing those twists, those turns, those highs, maybe some lows, and finding beauty in those imperfections. So, if you are feeling frustrated or unsure about maybe your last creation, Remember this. Just keep creating, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself because every dab of color is a step forward on that creative journey.
I hope that was fun for you. It was fun for me at the end once I got my Posca pen and I started doodling and my, whatever I need for tools to make me happy. And so I got there in the end. I hope you do too. If you have some of these paintings that you were absolutely frustrated with, sometimes other people think they're great. Sometimes when you're an artist, what you think is going to sell like right away doesn't. And the stuff that you thought, pardon my words, sucked are the first things to go. So who knows? So tag me in your thought failure. Head over to Instagram, Facebook. Make sure to like, subscribe to my channel,
And
and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.